Hello Internet! With the release of Sparkle's kit, well, at least most of them, it is time to look at your stash of 0 stellar jades and answer the question, should you be pulling for Sparkle or maybe for whatever reason, Jingyuan instead? This video will help you decide exactly that. Note that I won't be including leaks and I'm very annoyed at why Hoya wouldn't just release the full kit instead of quote-unquote buy a certain amount. Just give me the percentages, man. Anyways, firstly, let's understand our favorite shape-shifting gremlin. Sparkle is a 5-star quantum harmony character. After considering more information on her kit, I'll start with the conclusion. She is a god tier buffer. However, not as versatile still as Ruan Mei. To explain that, it is important to take note that Sparkle does buff you with crit damage on her skill while Ruan Mei buffs you with damage increase instead mostly. Meaning Sparkle's skill, which she will use a lot, does not help an attack built dot character as much as a Ruan Mei would. Hence, Ruan Mei still holds the title of the most versatile harmony character ever, helping crit DPS or just attack dot based DPS. However, let's not deny that Sparkle is still very versatile and one of the strongest harmony characters that will be released ever. Taking a look at her kit, she has a basic that does nothing special. Her talent is where she breaks the laws of Honkai genre. When she is on the field, you get an extra 2 skill point slots for a total of 7 at max. Additionally, she brings you damage increase whenever a skill point is consumed by an ally. This will indeed help attack-oriented dot characters too. So though I say Sparkle is not as versatile as Ruan Mei, she can still very much be used. Viable but not optimal. Moving on, we have her skill. This increases the crit damage of an ally for a number of turns and advances their action forward. We don't know exactly how much that she pushes your action forward, but from what we saw from the live stream, it pushes quite a big amount. But not exactly like Bronya though, where you just get a free turn. This does sound incredibly OP since it is just a mix of Bronya's ult and skill in one. However, it does come with a minor caveat. Sparkle's skill only advances action up to a certain amount. That means there will be high emphasis on speed tuning to ensure her DPS doesn't waste her action advance. This is similar with Bronya with how you can't have her be only barely faster with DPS, otherwise you're just wasting the action forward, right? How much speed do we need on everyone will be a question that will be answered when she is released and tested though. Moving on, we have the ultimate. This ulti recovers, well, 4 skill points from the live stream, but quote-unquote a certain number of skill points from their Twitter post. Why are they being so secretive? On top of that, all allies gained a buff named Cypher, which increases the damage boost effect from Sparkle's talent for a number of turns. This is a very straightforward ult. You just gain massive value no matter what by clicking it, right? The trickery here is to make sure you regain the full amount of skill points back without overcapping, which shouldn't be tough to do. You just have to use your skills. To further enhance her abilities, Hoyoverse have gave her some pretty interesting traces. Her major trace 1 additionally regenerates her energy on her basic attack. We don't know how much exactly, but usually this means her ult rotation can include a basic attack. However, depending on how you speed tune and set up your team, Sparkle can also just spam her E every turn for that action event, right? Her major trace 2 here increases her crit damage boost effect's duration from her skill. This is akin to Bronya's E6 effect, which mainly benefits off-turn DPS like Lightning Lord or Blade's follow-up attack. To explain this, currently Jingyuan suffers damage-wise when paired with Bronya since he will never have Bronya's skill buff up when Lightning Lord attacks. Well, unless you're gonna E6 Bronya, which I bet you don't. And E0 Sparkle with this major trace directly solves that issue for you though. You push Jingyuan with Sparkle, giving him the crit damage boost effect, and it will stay for an extra turn. That means the Lightning Lord will be benefited by this crit damage buff effect. Pretty nifty. Sparkle's third major trace straight up increases all allies' attack by simply existing. On top of that, this effect is increased for quantum characters based on the amount of quantum characters in your team. This is where opinions on Sparkle may differ. However, here's my take on it. Yes, this major trace does make Sparkle best in a mono quantum team. However, that doesn't mean she can't be used anywhere else though. Sparkle comes with a massive skill point refund, damage increase, and even without mono quantum, you still get attack increase anyway with this trace, albeit a bit less. Hence, Sparkle may not be as versatile as Ruan Mei, where she can be used anywhere and be in her ideal position, but Sparkle is still a very good harmony character that works more than well in most teams. However, not fully ideal. In order to understand Sparkle better, we have to touch on her Lightcone though. This one is easily the best Lightcone for Sparkle for sure. It gives herself 32% crit damage. This does mean her E works just like Bronya, where it scales with the caster's crit damage. It also just busts your whole team with 10% crit rate and 28% crit damage. Everything else here just means you have this effect pretty much for the entirety of the fight if you are able to use her ultimate environment without being controlled. With how rare crit rate buff is, you want to grab this Lightcone if given the choice. She still functions with the good old dance, past and future, or planetary rendezvous for better quantum teams, but nothing tops a Perbo double crit buff, right? From all of that, here are a list of pros and cons for Sparkle. She gets you a bunch of damage buffs and skill points to boot. She advances your action, meaning more turns for your DPS, more damage for them too. Though not as much as Ruan, she's still quite versatile. You can use her in pretty much most teams, right? If you have her Lightcone, she gets you double crit buffs, which is the livelihood for a lot of DPS. As for the cons here we have, she doesn't do quite well against crowd controls. Unlike Bronya that can at least cleanse a debuff on her E, Sparkle isn't optimal with attack-based characters, though still viable. She also isn't optimal in a team with lower skill point usage like a team with Blade, but then again, she's still viable. To conclude on this with a question, should you pull for Sparkle? Here's how I see it. Pull for whoever you like if you don't care about the meta, but if you do, pull for Sparkle if you don't have both Ruanmei and Bronya. At this point, you should already know how important it is to have a good harmony character. So if you don't got the two best ones now, you better get this one, which will be among the best. If you own either Bronya or Ruan, but not both, you should look at your other characters. If you cannot sustain against both MOC 12 bosses right now, it'd be wiser to prioritize the coming preservation or abundance characters. If you're dead, you can't win, right? But know that Sparkle is very suited for a no sustained speed clear considering the extra skill points for a DPS to use. You can in fact win if they are dead before you are, but this ultimately falls on how confident you are with your relics and other characters as well. It's a question I can't answer for you. Everyone has different accounts. If you have both Bronya and Ruanmei, Sparkle becomes a luxury but not a need. You can already beat every content. Pulling Sparkle is up to your preference. If you're a hardcore Dill or QQ main, pull Sparkle. It makes your life so much better since both of them make a conducive setup for Sparkle's preference of high skill point usage. And now we move on to our favorite segment. Should you pull for Jingyuan? Unless you like him. Jokes aside, Jingyuan is not the most terrible character in the world. You can still max start MOC 12 with him without any issues if paired with good supports. But same could be said with literally 85% of the damage dealers that exist, right? Hence the priority between these banners is still having a strong support. If you miss Ruanmei, Sparkle's your girl. A damage dealer will always be only great when your support is good enough. I will however emphasize that Jingyuan's Lightcone is one of the best for most erudition characters. If your only damage dealers are erudition characters, consider picking this up for some extra juice. And that concludes my analysis on Sparkle. I will say, however, I think pulling for Sparkle is generally never a bad idea. Considering every harmony character so far has all been great, even the base standard ones were even included the 4 stars. I don't think I had a situation where I thought, wow, this buffer sucks ass. I think all of them are really good, considering any DPS can only truly work with a good harmony beside them. So all nerdy math analysis aside, for me, emotionally, I would say, just pull for Sparkle, dude. It just saves you a bunch of headache. The extra skill points, man, makes you just autoplay. Now, click on the skill, you get them back anyway. It's just easy mode. I hope I help you decide whether or not you should be pulling for her. I'm sure I will though. And that is all. Take care.